Fuyu Dad's encounter with Bigfoot. He said that it was when he was younger and he was going on a fishing trip. And they had camped out somewhere, and a few of them had decided to like get in a boat. I recorded my dad telling me this story, so I'm going to have to like listen to it again. Also, you wouldn't probably be able to understand my dad if I played the recording. It would be kind of funny. So he and these guys got in a boat, okay? They were camping. They were on an over the weekend camping trip, and they got in this little boat, like a tiny little boat that just fits a few people to go down in like the river at the lake. What I mean? And they were in the boat going to get supplies to bring back, and it was night. Don't ask me why they were traveling at night. I have so many questions now that I'm thinking about this story. I'm going to ask him to recount it for me. So, he was in this boat with 3 other guys, and they were traveling down the river like, it's nighttime, and they're on the boat in the river, and they heard something that sounded like a big crack. Maybe like a tree with the circumference of like, I think he said like a medium tree. Like a small medium tree, maybe like a 10-inch circumference. He heard a big crack. Okay. I should have spooky music for this. And they all turned to look in the direction of the crack. And at the shoreline, there was something standing, leaning against another tree. And it was looking at them. And his hand was up on the tree. And as it looked at them, he said, he said it's not embellishment, okay? That he said that the eyes were like red. And down below, here's the part that was really interesting, okay? Because it kind of sounds like a lot of other stories, right? He said that down below this larger big figure, there was something smaller and similar in general shape, like hugging and holding on to like the leg of this bigger one, as if like one was an adult maybe, and one was a child or younger, or maybe just like just a differing size, holding onto the leg as if it were like scared. So they could only see like a blurred vision of it. And I say blurred, but in the way that if you were looking from a boat to shore in only the moonlight, and you saw glowing eyes, and you heard the crack of a tree. And what's funny about this story, actually, they see this and they're taking it in. And one of the guys that he's on this trip with jumps off of the boat. So you have to know that like people from that area have a lot of, many people have a lot of superstitions about seeing stuff like that. And they don't want to see it. Like, you're not supposed to see a lot of things. Now, a lot of tribes actually see Bigfoot as a very positive, protective figure. So I don't want to cast Bigfoot in like a negative light, like a Sasquatch type. He's seen as very positive, like a protector. But this guy flipped out, and my dad's friend jumped out of the boat and swam back to the other side of shore. And all the other guys were like, dude, what are you doing? What? Why? And they all just kind of like freaked out and were like, okay, dude, like, sure, swim back to shore. And they didn't see him again until they got back to camp. Like, this guy just full on jumped off of the boat and ran back. Why would you do that? I would stay on the boat, because if you thought that it was scary, wouldn't you stay on the boat because you could get away from it quicker? Like, I don't know. He did swim to the other side of the shore. It just seems a bit illogical. So I think his fight or flight kicked in, and his was flight. But yeah, they said that it kind of remained there for a little bit, and then they just kind of couldn't see it anymore as they moved. I need to ask for clarification from Fuyu Dad. But I thought it was cool that my dad has his own story, but he didn't describe the encounter as scary or imposing. Like he wasn't afraid. He was just, it was kind of the type of fear where you were in awe. Does that make sense? You're just in awe and confusion of what's happening. So I don't think he felt a sense of fear, except for that one guy that jumped off the boat. Can't say anything about him. He was very scared. But my dad and the other 3 guys were fine. They were just like, whoa, wow, wow, this is amazing. And scared. Kind of like watching a tornado. Maybe that would be a good description when you're watching a tornado at a distance and you're like, whoa. Every man for himself. Dang, Fuyu. You have to return to those woods. I could ask, but this was probably, he was like, I don't think he was maybe he was a teenager. I think he was a teenager when this happened, like a young adult. Yeah, I would want to stay with the group too. I feel like that guy, not gonna lie, was probably the one that doesn't make it in the game. But I don't know, I think if I had like a Bigfoot encounter, as long as I feel like there are fewer, let me rephrase this, I need to rephrase it. There are fewer stories of a Bigfoot or Sasquatch type encounter being negative. A lot of the time, they're minding their own business. And like I said before, in more than one culture, they are protectors of the land and protectors of the people. And I really have a lot of respect for that. So I wouldn't want to do anything to like slander Bigfoot name, if that makes sense, because they're very important to a lot of people. There's your cryptid story. Believe it or not. Believe it or not.